Hello guys, you alright? Repeal Phil. Hope you're all doing very well and remaining positive. I'd like to talk about a particular case that has come to light now. That for me, although it makes you realise where the country is at, once you read the story and you get a grasp of what it means on a bigger picture, it's an absolutely glorious day in a twisted kind of mentality. The reason why, you've got a mainstream media that have been nothing but deceptive and vilifying average people for going attending marches, casting aspersions, building the straw men, making it seem that what they're talking about is all about hatred and bigotry. They've never wanted to cover particular crimes, events that have gone on round the country and the world in an unbiased manner, which has made the work of people who want to go on marches even harder, losing jobs, all the rest of it getting banned when they're talking about talking points that are somewhat relevant. The mainstream media have been able to keep them talking points as if you're coming from a point of hatred. Although sad to say it, on a small percentage level, on a spectrum, there will be people that will be hiding behind this movement. Can't deny that. Does that mean that the talking points are any less worth talking about? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. So you've still got to talk about it. You still can't use that as a reason not to discuss it and then label people in the manner that the media, the press, everyone has been doing it over the past several years. You've had certain individuals rise up and talk about this, whether people think rightly or wrongly how it's done. The same again is irrelevant. It's the talking point that matters. That dampening down on social medias and YouTube of anyone discussing it, so there's been a blackout, almost a media blackout. So this story, Huddersfield grooming gang who raped teenage girls jailed for 221 years. That is a reputable mainstream media, The Express. Now, if you look through, The Express has covered it, Sky's covered it, BBC's covered it, The Independent has covered it. All pretty much saying the same thing. Showing photos, naming them all. A certain man went to jail for covering this, albeit he was on a caution, you could say. Rightly or wrongly, could have jeopardised the case. I'm so glad it didn't in the long run. The bottom line is, the mainstream media would not want to cover this. So it makes me very happy that the mainstream media are now looking and covering this. They're not digging as deep as we'd like. They're not rooting it out. But this is worth 10 marches, in a sense that it is a narrative breaker. Anyone who is politically illiterate, who is not looking at what is going on with issues in the country, they're just living in their own bubble, they will wake up and see this. That has done the job for you. Because instead of them walking through a town centre and them, because of brainwashing, because of propaganda, interpreting people on a march to be far right and racist, when you're holding placards maybe talking about cases like this, as much as you've got your right to do it, it is far better that these sheeple, these zombies, are woken up with the stark reality from a mainstream newspaper stating a crime of such severity that then gets them thinking about talking points in which you're talking about, which then has to make them reevaluate, are you really coming from a position of hatred? Or are you looking at this from a position of, this is a heinous crime, it's irrelevant of its demographic, although, whether you like it or not, the demographic seems to be a certain persuasion. You can't get away from it, that's the way it is. At the same time, a lot of people that I see, or a lot of my subbers, is indiscriminate in their way of thinking, in a sense that they would not mind if that was white faces put up there, if them people were said to be doing a similar crime in a similar way, with a similar disregard to other human beings. Because that's what it's about. It is not about colour. The media have got away with making the wider asleep public believe that the reason you're attacking this is because of colour. So this is a narrative breaker. And we've got to see now, the more peaceful we can be, the more less confrontational with the crazy left, Antifa, Labour, Stand Up to Racism, Hope Not Hate. They would not want this article out. Now their spin on it is that this article will only incite more hatred against Muslims. And let's not beat about the bush, there will be a small percentage that will try and exploit it on that level. The vast majority of people I see at marches, and the way I feel, I don't see this as a reason to then expel every Muslim person in this land. I see this as a reason to let's start talking about it. Let's start asking questions. Just like our Home Secretary. Stories like this lend more credibility to the movement. The left, Antifa, are openly funded and financed to a bigger level than the odd organiser who organises a street march, regardless of the topic. We know that. They are allowed, they are not vilified. Their only aim is to agitate and to make you look bad, essentially. Draw out the nasty ill feeling on a march, create confrontation, and then demonise you for that confrontation. Don't give them the power. They will hate it. They can't stop it. It's a narrative breaker. It will get the average person, no matter your demographic, no matter your social class, to look at this as a social issue within this country. It will open the doors to political correctness. It is so good in so many ways. It's unfortunate that it's took decades for this to become more prominent, and goes without saying, the victims that have had to pay the price, the families that have had to pay the price in order for this to become more of a focal talking point. So they've laid down their soul in order to get this news out. With the emergence of more and more positive stories about grooming victims, about organisations that are supporting grooming victims, survivors, the more credibility, the more the point will be broken out in a positive manner in which that they cannot stop that signal. So to me, that is the direction, and it's a long game. This is not going to be done in a year, two. This is going to be a generational, conscious shift. Stories like this, that they hate to publicise will help tenfold. Loving you all, guys, even the pissing haters. Thank you very much for watching.